Hi guys, welcome back to another JavaScript video. I'm Zen, and in this video we're looking at strings and characters and how to create them. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this should hopefully be a fairly quick video. We're going to be looking at how to create characters and string variables in JavaScript. As you can see, I've already got Visual Studio Code up and running. I've got the JavaScript test file and the tester1.js files that we created in the earlier videos. And I'm just going to delete the content so we've got a clear workstation. So the first thing we have to say is, well, what exactly is a string? What exactly is a character? And a string is fairly straightforward. It is essentially text. Now, it's not just text, but think of it as being text. It can be a single letter, it can be a bunch of letters, it can be a sentence, it can be a paragraph, it can be the content of an entire book. And just like you would see in a paragraph or in a book or something like that, it can also include things like punctuation. So, you know, single quotes, double quotes, pound signs, full stops or periods, commas, semicolon, the whole lot, including numbers. But the important thing to understand is that when we talk about numbers inside a string, these numbers do not have a numerical value. So think of sort of like an aeroplane, the 747-400. When we see that written down, we're not looking at that as we're going to apply some maths to it. We see it as it's a designation, it's a name for an airplane. And that's what we mean by a string. So in order to create our string, we've got to follow the sort of grammar built into JavaScript. And we have to start off by using the keyword let. Now, trying not to do a play on words here, but just to let you know, let isn't the only variable declarator we can use. We can also use another one called var. Okay, and var's been around for a very, very long time, and it's only just recently been sort of not necessarily replaced, but on the process of being replaced by the word let. Now, the reason behind this is quite complicated, and there will be another video on this a bit later on, so I'm not going to go into it. But just be aware that you should now be using let. But because you're probably going to be looking at other videos, looking at textbooks, stuff like that, you will come across var. And just to let you know that var is totally okay, and you can replace var with let. There are only a few situations where the difference between let and var is important. So for the most of it, just think let is all you need. So after we use this keyword let, we then got to use the identifier for our variable. So just like we did in our previous video, I'm going to use first underscore name. After we've decided and typed in our variable name, we use the equal sign. Now I've put a space here, and that's totally okay. If you prefer not to put a space, that's also okay. I like the space, the white space, which is what it's called. I think it makes it neater and easier to read. On the other side of the equal sign is where we put our value. Now our values must be encased in quotes, but we'll go into that in a moment. So we're going to use a double quote first, and like before, we're going to use the word Fred, because why not? And then we're going to use a semicolon at the end. So the important thing to note is that the actual value, the string value here, which is Fred, is encased by these double quotes. Now, as I said, it doesn't have to be double quotes. You can, for instance, use single quotes, which, if you look at your keyboard, is 2 keys to the right of the letter L on a UK QWERTY keyboard, that is, whereas a double quote is Shift and 2 on the keyboard. Now, for most part, the difference between single and double quotes is almost zero. The important thing to understand is that if you start off with a single quote, you must finish with a single quote. Likewise, if you do it with a double quote, you must finish with a double quote. So you cannot, for example, do this, okay? And this gives us a bit of clue here, because we can see the semicolon is in red. In fact, there you go, peak problem, unterminated string literal. Okay, which basically means that it says, we can see we've got a string here, but it's not been finished. And so this is why we can use different ones, because now we can do something like the proper English with threads, or, you know, thread is, so threads like that. So as long as we've got the right terminators, we are okay. There's also, like I said, a third option, and this is called a backtick. This is perhaps the one thing that most people aren't aware of. And if you look at, again, we're talking about a British QWERTY keyboard. If you look to the left of the number 1 on your keyboard, you will find the backtick. Now, the backtick is actually very powerful, and unless you need to for a specific reason, I'd actually recommend that you use backticks from now forwards. And we're going to see, again, few videos on why this is the case, but it allows us to mix variable names in with our strings, which becomes very powerful and very helpful for us later on. But that is how you create a string. Like I said, you know, it doesn't have to be a one-word thing, so we can do, you know, something like this. Fred says, hello world. And you can see here that we're using multiple words, and like I said, we can use numbers in here, and it's absolutely fine. You just got to remember that these numbers have no mathematical value. So that's what a string is, and that's how we create it. So what is a character? Well, actually a character is really a string. It's just a single digit string. Okay. Now there are ways of being able to extract single values from strings and stuff like that. But that's not really how you create a character type. So in truth, in JavaScript, there is no character type. Okay, it's just a string with a single digit in it. So we could do let my char, and then that is how you'd actually create the character. Like I said, there is no built-in character class or character type in JavaScript. It is just a single digit string. And that's really it. That is all this video is about. You know, if you want me to expand or anything, again, please make a note on it. You know, give me a message below and I'll try and get back to it as soon as I can. But it is as simple as that. That is how you create either a string or a character in JavaScript. And I can't believe I'm almost at 10 minutes just doing this one, so I'm going to stop now. It's the end of the video. Like I say, put comments below. See you guys in the next video. I'm Zen, signing out.